Hi everyone, this is Andy Matsuda at Sushi Chef Institute. Today we have a visiting as vinegar company and here for Marukan Vinegar Company. So see happening what's inside of it. So let's go. Thank you for inviting. This is visiting your Marukan Vinegar. So please introduce yourself.
Oh, thanks, Chef Andy. As you know, I'm John from Marukan. I'm the president here at Marukan Vinegar USA. Been here for over 10 years myself, but this factory's been here for over 45 years, making the world's finest rice vinegar in the United States. And in Japan, we're a over 370-year-old company, so a very ancient company that makes vinegar from Japan the traditional way.
I have a first question is, what's the mission for Marukan Vinegar?
Well, Marukan Vinegar's mission is to make the world's finest rice vinegar, and of course now we're expanding into other types of vinegar, and as you know, Chef Andy, we've always tried to really cater to the sushi chef market and make the sushi chefs anything they need when it comes to authentic Japanese style sushi vinegar, really the old school way to get the authentic flavor that you need.
What's the difference between rice vinegar and other white vinegar?
Well, rice vinegar is very unique. It can only be made out of rice. We really believe in staying true to that process and using the whole kernel of rice and starting from scratch with the best quality California grown rice that we can get. We bring that in and we ferment the rice ourselves using our own koji that comes from Japan, and we follow the traditional Marukan methods. So the difference between rice vinegar and other types of vinegar, rice vinegar starts with rice, whereas just a distilled white vinegar that you might find out there, it's very low cost, can be made from any types of grain, such as corn or wheat or barley, that can be turned to alcohol, like a whiskey or mash, and then distilled off. So you really kind of lose all of the flavor of the origin product, and you just left with the very bitter, kind of strong acetic acid. So it's very one-dimensional. It's very bitter and off-putting somewhat in food. There are some applications for it, but rice vinegar much more mild and flavorful, easier to enjoy.
So we visiting as a factory inside is a very wonderful process. What's the most important to the stages for the making of rice vinegar?
For making rice vinegar, I would say by far the most important is brewing the sake that we brew and doing it in the traditional way that makes Marukan vinegar great. So we take a slow brewed process, a slow brewed approach that really doesn't try to rush to get the vinegar up to the highest, or to get the alcohol up as high as we can and as fast as we can. We really kind of want to control it and get the rice to turn to alcohol the way that Marukan does it.
Yeah, we saw in a process for 2016 of sake kasu. It's got a darkness as one too.
Oh yes.
And those one is most people know it looks like expired, but it's not. This is one of the aging, right?
Oh sure, just like a high quality alcohol or liquor that would be aged in casks and barrels for years and years. And you hear the stories about bourbon, how they lose half of it because it ages so long, it really reduces down. Our sake kasu that we bring in, yes, it can be in here for over 5 years before we'll start to use it, because we really want to have that aging to get the real earthiness and the traditional aroma and flavor that the true Japanese chef or connoisseur of sushi will expect.
Great. starting a new product?
Oh yeah. Well, as you know, we've talked about the apple cider vinegar that we're now making at Marukan. We're very excited about this new product. We make a couple of different apple cider vinegar products. One is a very familiar apple cider vinegar that you can make dressings out of. Another one that we've blended with our organic rice vinegar and made it a drink. You know, with the idea that a lot of people in the United States are taking vinegar in the morning or at night as a routine for their health. We wanted to see if we could make that routine more enjoyable and more of a tasty, healthy habit. Okay. And so I'm drinking it every morning myself and loving it. Okay. And I think our drink blend is really unique out there in the market. It could also be used to make dressings. I've added it to soups and things to brighten up the flavor a little bit and bring a little acidity when you need it. So yeah, we think it's a wonderful product.
So can I explanations for us for how the process for your signature vinegar, for the Marukan vinegar?
Yes, for our signature Ginsho and Kasho line of rice flavored grain vinegars, these are the premium sushi vinegars that sushi chefs like yourself really prefer. I know that you use a lot of our Marukan Kasho, and this is where the sake kasu aging really comes in, and it has to be a very ripe and ready sake kasu that we will blend into our alcohol, and then we do the static fermentation, which is very important. Marukan is really the only manufacturer in the United States. There are a few in Japan, but in the United States, we're the only one that we know of that still does a static fermentation, and that means turning the alcohol from alcohol to vinegar, acetic acid, without any manipulation of machines, no aeration, no agitation. It really goes into the tank, blended, and it sits. And that allows these long, mature mother vinegar strains to grow through the product and cultivate, and it gets a flavor like no one else can produce.
Are they a traditional way to do making a vinegar?
Yes, very much so. This was taught to us in Japan from the Japanese company of how to do this, and it's been the traditional way of making these Ginsho and Kasho vinegars ever since they were introduced.
Marukan vinegar is quite many years now family recipe technique.
Yes, in fact, 10 generations family-old business. So ever since 1649, when Suya Kanzaburo founded the company, and he taught all of his successors, children and grandchildren, how to do the vinegar. Marukan was the first company in Japan selling su as a product. Before that time, before Marukan was around in the 1500s and even before, usually you had to get your su in a bar. So you would go where they were serving sake and you would ask for sake that had turned and was no longer alcohol but was vinegar. And so that's what people used to season their food, to preserve the fish, to make the sushi. So
many years they're doing for same process.
Yes, exactly. Same process for 10 generations.
Wow, this is something very interesting. We need to keep in that traditional way to the many years too in the future as sushi lovers.
Yes, I know of no other company that's exactly like it, so I think I'm glad that you appreciate the difference at Marukan and that we can continue to do this in the traditional way.
Now I have in the school we're using for Marukan vinegar. What's the future for public people?
Marukan vinegar in these grocery store glass bottles that you see are really sold all over the country in all 50 states in the United States. We also have quite a bit of distribution in Mexico, Canada. So in North America, Marukan is very easy to find. You'll just usually go to the Asian food section where soy sauce and other Asian Japanese products can be found. Sometimes it's in the vinegar section, but most often we're sold in the traditional Asian grocery aisle.
How much restaurant do you?
Oh, well, before the pandemic, about half of our business was sold to restaurants. Of course, the pandemic really shifted our business more towards grocery as restaurants were struggling. But we are really now thankfully seeing that business come back strong. And so we're actually comparing our sales in restaurants now to 2019 rather than 2020 because it's a better frame of reference. And we've just about caught back up. So I expect that we'll be growing in restaurant business. Most of the time when we talk to chefs about our vinegar, they see the retail bottle and they say, well, this is what I use at home. I didn't realize it was available in my restaurant. So we help to show them where who carries it and how it can be available, and chefs are very pleased to find out that they can now get Marukan vinegar in just about any way they need it for their restaurants.
So tell me other product you have besides the rice vinegar.
Well, besides making the world's finest rice vinegar, we also believe very strongly that we make the world's finest ponzus.
Okay.
And so these ponzu sauces are very different at Marukan because they're made with the traditional sudachi or the traditional yuzu citrus. Two different flavors. And then, of course, for the vinegar, they use Marukan's world's finest rice vinegar. So the combination of that mellow, smooth, flavorful rice vinegar with the authentic, traditional, real yuzu or sudachi citrus from Japan makes a tremendous difference in our ponzus. A lot of the other ponzus out there, they'll use citric acid or they'll use domestic lemon juice, but this is imported Japanese fruit that we're using, and so it's got a unique taste that's not like anything else.
Great. I love it too.
Oh, great. We're glad that you love it. Chefs usually get very excited when they find out they can use traditional ingredients.
Sure. Well, it's now in the product in northern United States. You challenge to another location all over the world?
Yes, we would like to expand our export business and make sure that Marukan is available all over the world. Now that we have 2 factories here in North America as well as 2 in Japan, we feel like we can distribute to the rest of the world better than we ever have. And so we're always looking for opportunities to export and expand our business outside of the U.S. and North America.
Yes, we have 35 different country people come to our school. There's a lot of vinegar needed, and so it should be in the more future. Hopefully, is anywhere they can get in the Marukan vinegar in the future.
Yes, that sounds good. We deal with a number of international distributors such as JFC, Japan Food Company, that operates on every continent, and so they can be a great resource to get our product in any of those countries, I'm sure.
Yeah. Well, we'll try to take it home to school, and I can make some good product and a sample for you, so we can see.
Sounds great.
What we can do.
Wonderful.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me today. It's a wonderful day today.
Always a pleasure to have you, Chef Andy. It's a wonderful partnership, and we're pleased to work with you.
Thank you so much.
Okay, of course.